Okay, so after reading 3 fascinating history books about treasure, The Gold House, Coronado's Children, and From Chapultepec Castle to Castle Gap, I have developed a theory about Empress Carlota's crown. So according to eyewitnesses, including the legendary and awesome Ova Nas, the crown was discovered in Victoria Peak. It had 243 diamonds and a pigeon blood ruby, and it weighed 7 pounds. So Ova claimed in her 1977 interview that her and Doc put the crown in a paper bag and took it to a jeweler in El Paso. He was thoroughly impressed, and Ova Na said that they were best friends after that. So this is why I think that not only the crown is real, but findable. So just a real quick synopsis. Empress Carlota was born Princess Charlotte of Belgium. She moved to Mexico when she married Emperor Maximilian I, and she became empress, and she adopted the Spanish version of her name, Carlota. So she was a Belgian Princess Charlotte. So the crown originally was probably originated in Belgium, traveled with Carlota to Mexico, and then after the fall of the Second Mexican Empire, it got swept up in that swirl of outlaws and Native American Comanches and stashed in Victoria Peak, where Doc Noss found it in the late 20s, early 30s. So according to Coronado's Children, it was the Confederate bandits fleeing Mexico. They probably buried the treasure in Castle Gap, and then the Apaches or Comanches grabbed the treasure and stashed it in Victoria Peak, and then Doc and Ova Nas found it in the 1920s and 30s. Let's see. So I was skeptical about Victoria Peak at first, but after reading all of these books and watching the documentary, I think it was called, so good. It was called Gold, Lies, Gold, and Videotape, and it was just put out. Watch that on YouTube. Let's see. Oh, Gold, Lies, and Videotape. Add it to your list. It covers Victoria Peak in detail. It's essential viewing. There's also a 2023 petition to allow Terry DeLonis and his crew from that video back to Victoria Peak to start digging again. So go sign that. Go find that petition and sign it. And by the way, fuck Jim Eccles. I just have to put that in there. He's a renowned skeptic of Victoria Peak, and that guy, ugh, him and Miss Horsman, they should get together. Anyway, so I believe in Victoria Peak, but I think Ova Nas may have faked the Victoria Peak photo of the crown. And the reason I think that, it's not because the crown never existed, but because she didn't have the real photo of it. So keep in mind, snapping photos back in the 1930s, it wasn't a casual event like today. The equipment was expensive, access was limited, and the secrecy around the treasure made photographing it a low priority. So I think what she did is I think she went and grabbed a photo from a magazine of Princess Alexandria's crown in Russia. Because when you put the Victoria Peak crown and the crown from Russia side by side, they're identical. So unless there was a doppelganger of Alexandria's crown, so in other words, it was a style of crown styled by the same crown maker among royalty in the 1800s. So the same version, but different stones, because Alexandria's crown was an emerald and Carlota's could have been the pigeon blood ruby. That would be so cool. So once I find this one, I can go find Alexandria's and I can have a collection. But anyway, I think she faked the photo. I think the crown is out there. After finishing And the reason I think it is because after finishing the Gold House, I believe without a doubt that the crown and many other historical treasures from Maximilian's loot was buried by Doc Noss in a metal footlocker, and I believe it's still out there. And then when I watched the documentary with Terry DeLonis, there was a map that they couldn't figure out, and I don't think that map is of Victoria Peak. I think it's a map Doc Noss drew of where he might have buried that footlocker. So stay tuned for that.